The Gem State is changing every day, and as it does, the Idaho Matters podcast will help you know more about the changing communities and governments and cultures of Idaho. Listen to Idaho Matters today at boisestatepublicradio.org or in your favorite podcast app.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Well, you've made it to Election Day, so indeed we'll have what you need to know on this first Tuesday of November. We'll have the Election Day forecast for you as well. We have a new survey that tells us a majority of voters were very concerned about the cost of housing this election season. And we have a report on Aaron von Ehlinger. Remember him, the former GOP lawmaker convicted of raping a legislative intern? His attorneys were at Idaho's highest court yesterday. We'll have that for you as well. It is Tuesday, November the 5th, and here are today's stories. Polls open today from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. local time, and we're expecting a robust and possibly a record number of total votes today. We do know that in Ada County, nearly 81,000 people voted early. Add to that more than 50,000 absentee ballots that have been returned thus far, again in Ada County.
We voted close to 50% of our registered voters. And so that's a high mark for us, and we're excited. Hopefully that means shorter wait lines today for precinct voting, but we'll see what happens today.
This is Ada County Clerk Trent Triple, and he has an important reminder today for those who still have an absentee ballot.
I have to have it in my hands by 8 p.m., meaning it has to be in a drop box, and we'll have people stationed at those drop boxes at 8 p.m., or we'll have folks at the post office at 8 p.m. picking up the last of those ballots.
Meanwhile, a new survey shows a majority of voters were very concerned about the cost of housing heading into the election. Caleb Radel reports.
Federal data shows many U.S. homeowners spend more than 30% of their income on housing. It's what experts call cost burdened.
That's less money that's available for them to pay for other things.
That's Anthony Orlando, a researcher at California State Polytechnic University. Roughly a fifth of households fall into that category in Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, and New Mexico.
When people spend more than 30% of their income on housing, they start to have to cut back on basic necessities. That in itself is part of the crisis.
Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris backs down payment assistance for lower-income homebuyers. Republican candidate Donald Trump has tied the problem to immigration. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Caleb Radel.
This Election Day brings us some very cold temperatures early today and some unsettled air. Jackson McFarland is at the National Weather Service office.
Yeah, it's going to be a chilly one. Actually, this morning, Tuesday morning, is looking to be the chilliest morning in our extended forecast period, with a low in Boise expected to be around 24 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, wow.
Generally within a few degrees of that, but yeah, well below freezing.
Overall, the forecast for today, what does it look like?
It's a little interesting. There's going to be some clouds out there, maybe over the foothills and over the Owyhees, some isolated showers, possibly some snow showers as you get higher up. Looks like above 5,000 feet above sea level. That's when you're going to see that shift over to rain showers. But that should be over the higher terrain in the Treasure Valley, a little drier, maybe a stray shower or two that drops some sprinkles. But that should be the most excitement we'll see before we enter a high-pressure ridge over most of the area.
Well, talk to me about that. So that means things warm up?
Things will slightly warm up. So we're going to go from a high of 45 on Wednesday up to about a high of 52 on Saturday. So a pretty slight warming trend. We're actually keyed in a little bit more on maybe some air stagnation implications with this ridge building in. It's a really high amplitude ridge. Right now our air is pretty clean, so hopefully there won't be too many impacts, but it does look like it could build in a little inversion over us. And what that's going to do is it might trap some of those pollutants near the valley floor, and that could degrade air quality just a little bit for a few days before our next system comes in Saturday. And hopefully that'll clear us out of any air stagnation worries.
And that system, can I assume that will bring some precipitation?
It's looking like it. Right now we've got a chance of precipitation of about 50% there Saturday evening. And if that one doesn't do much, if it misses us just to the north, it's looking like there's an even stronger system headed our way early next week.
Idaho's highest court yesterday heard an appeal from a former GOP state lawmaker convicted of raping a legislative intern. James Dawson reports.
An Ada County court convicted Aaron von Ehlinger of raping the intern in 2022, sentencing him to at least 8 years in prison. Von Ehlinger's victim briefly took the stand during trial, but quickly walked out of the courtroom and never returned. Instead, a sexual assault nurse who treated her paraphrased the victim's testimony on the stand. Von Ehlinger's public defender, Eric Littinen, says that violates his constitutional right to confront his accuser. JV are the initials of the victim Littinen references.
Because JV did not testify, really all of the evidence of any sort of force, any actual crime having been committed, came in through these out-of-court statements relayed through the nurse examiner.
But Deputy Attorney General Ken Jorgensen argues Von Ehlinger's lawyer never lodged formal complaints during the trial.
There was no motion to strike the testimony. There was no motion for a mistrial. There was no motion that we can say preserved this.
Justices have no timeline in which to issue their decision in the case. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. And thanks for listening.
If you like podcasts like this, explore more from the Boise State Public Radio podcast family. There you'll find a mix of daily news, Idaho Voices, and in-depth series on a wide range of topics. I'm talking wild horses, political scandals, sustainable ranching, and militia groups in a post-January 6th world. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search Boise State Public Radio to find what Idaho's NPR station has in store for you.